Matt Brown is the founder and CEO of Wherefour, where he helps batch manufacturers manage production, traceability, and inventory in a single cloud based system. With that, Matt, we're thrilled to have you at the live event today, and I am very much looking forward to hearing your presentation.
Hi, Michael. Great to be here. Good to see you again. Okay, so hello, everybody. Wanted to talk to you briefly about how we use AI at Wherefour. So let's dive in. AI is everywhere these days, but as a lot of us know, not all of it necessarily matters. So every company is talking about AI. A lot of it can be just kind of features bolted on to look current, maybe some buzzwords without a lot of substance. But AI isn't magic. So I'm here to share what we've found where it actually works inside our product and also where it helps us with our team and our customers get our work done more efficiently. So one of the things we do at Wherefour is we're constantly monitoring what AI actually does well, and we build around that. We try to avoid listening to the hype and worrying about that. And of course, AI is changing so quickly that every month it feels like there's a new version of an LLM or something to consider. So we're always watching that carefully and monitoring how we could build that into our product. So the other thing we do is we still review everything we build very carefully. Tools help, but our team ultimately is the one that decides whether we implement something or not. And so where it's working, it's saving us real time. And that is, for us anyway, the entire point of AI. So two ways we use AI at Wherefour. One is inside our product, and the other is how our team works. Inside our product, we allow customers to generate detailed manufacturing tests that someone might use to measure the quality of their product, the consistency of their product. These can be very tedious, time-consuming things to set up. So we let our users use AI to help with that process. We also use that for compliance, what we call control points. Control points are parts of a manufacturing process where you might want to stop the process and do some more checking or determining if the product is ready to move to the next step. We also use AI to surface answers quickly for customers. It lets them get answers to questions they may have or problems they are experiencing quickly without waiting for our support staff. The other way we use AI is how our team operates inside. So we are currently using it for rapid prototyping of UI UX. We can get pretty much fully functional wireframes or prototypes of features built so we can all try it before we actually spend developer resources implementing it. We can also translate our training and support videos into other languages, add voiceovers and things that are designed for that language or that culture, which saves our team a lot of time. So one of the things we do when we are working on internal features is realistic mock-ups of features. We can incorporate realistic content that helps the entire team determine if things are working the way we want or if users are going to be able to respond well to those changes. We focus on accessibility and edge cases. We're always using AI to check against best practices in terms of accessibility or different browser features, things like that. We can generate UI variations in hours instead of days. That's a huge time saver for our team. And testing integration speed. So we can iterate on some tests. We have a full suite of automated tests for our product, and we can iterate on those changes quickly. So internally, when it comes to support or working with our customers, we've determined that AI helps us achieve better training outcomes. With training videos in someone's language, we get better engagement. We can make quicker revisions to our training videos. We're constantly iterating on the product. And so every change we make, there's a backlog of training videos to update. and AI helps us do that more efficiently and quicker. And also helps us bridge the gap. We might do a Zoom meeting with someone where English is not their primary language. Sometimes translation can help us, our team, with that. So at Wherefour, we've determined that AI right now, anyway, is a tool. It's not a shortcut for us. We still have to review the work that we generate with it. We try not to let it flatten our thinking. We're always using our human brains to augment the AI brain and make sure that we bring our creativity to the process as well. And we always try to stay in the driver's seat. Not even just try, we are in the driver's seat. We're always making decisions, not the AI. So that's a snapshot of how we use AI at Wherefour. Michael, I'll turn it back over to you and take it from there.
Fantastic. I think that really gives a very high level view of a topic that is very much on the minds of a lot of executives today. And overall, I think a lot of different organizations will have questions related to the presentation. So we'll definitely make some time available for everyone to ask questions. I know you're joining us for the next live Q&A panel. Can you talk a little bit about one topic that I think a lot of organizations have found, and I think you touched on it in your presentation?
Well, for us and our particular product, so our product is a pretty integral part of a manufacturing business. So it's mission critical stuff. Needs to be accurate when it comes to cost, accurate in terms of numbers or quantity of inventory, accurate in terms of functionality. So for us, using AI to work around the edges of our product, I would say. So help with testing, help with training videos, help prototype UI or UX functions, but not actually build them for us. So we will maybe make 3 versions of a form or some widget that we want to put into the product, and we'll use AI for that. But we won't let that code hit the production app. We'll actually look at it, review it, maybe take elements of it we like, but it does not hit the production code. Our developers will basically build the prototype like they would normally. It's just that we save time, a lot of time up front in determining the direction we want to go.
So really, always having a human in the loop is key to a lot of these AI implementations.
For us and the complexity of product that we have, yes, that's the decision that we've made. That wouldn't necessarily be appropriate or necessary for some other companies that maybe have simpler products or maybe less, something's wrong. Business isn't going to fail if something fails in the product. Maybe that would be a better, using AI to fully build something would make more sense for that kind of company. But for us and the type of customer base that we have right now with the state of AI, we prefer to use it as a augment to our process, not a replacement.
Now, for anyone that's listening in to this conversation, what are the types of organizations that you typically see using the Wherefour solution?
Yeah, so we work with companies, mid-market to small companies that are in some sort of manufacturing. So they either manufacture a product of their own or they co-manufacture a product for someone else. And those products can be in food, beverage, cosmetics, personal care, cannabis or CBD, textiles, electronics, oil and gas, chemicals, really any type of product that can be manufactured. Our platform helps them do that. So we manage inventory, we run their purchasing, we do full traceability of material through the process. So if they have audits or compliance requirements, our system does that. So the types of users in our system run the gamut from people managing inventory, people managing the production process, It might be management that are overseeing the entire operation, people purchasing material, people selling material. It runs a full range of user. So for that reason too, AI for us, some of those users might be more familiar with AI, some might not be. And one concern with companies that we work with is AI and personal data. So
Right.
I have my manufacturing platform using AI and not firewalling my personal data or my product data from that tool, then my formula or my data might leak out into the wider system. And that's
Yeah, and
a lot
that
of our customers, that's not a good thing. So,
no, exactly, exactly. So, a lot of organizations that are in that manufacturing space is, as you mentioned, a lot of compliance, a lot of unique scenarios that may be one off to them, or it may be unique to the specific type of manufacturing,
right.
but shared with other organizations that are doing the same type of process. So, what are some of those constraints that organizations or unique needs that clients have?
Well, probably the two biggest ones are the areas where we have built AI directly into our product, and that is defining what we call test definitions. So a test definition would be, I do 10,000 units of this product, and every 1,000th unit, I need to check the pH on it to make sure it's within spec, or I need to check the temperature, make sure it's food safe. Maybe it's cosmetics, and I need to do some sort of potency or quality check on it. That is a very unique process to most companies. Every company is going to do their product a slightly different way. So we've allowed AI into the product in that space. It's a one way from the user to AI and back, but none of their formula or inventory data is transmitted to the UI or allowed in the UI space. Sorry, UI, AI space. So that's a one way to the AI. The other area is in what we call control point or control point definitions. And these are points where you stop a production process or block it until some sort of test has been achieved and passed. So you might need 3 people to sign off on this is packaged correctly and ready for delivery, or this product is cured efficiently, and the manager comes along and signs off on it. Those are other areas that are very unique to companies. They all have their own way of doing it, some very complicated, some very simple. AI is perfect for that, where you can describe what you want. AI will come back and say, here's a whole plan on your compliance. Here's what I propose to do. That saves our customers a ton of time.
Yeah, and obviously every organization has their own internal process and procedure, but as you mentioned earlier, there are a lot of external organizations in terms of compliance and structure and government organizations and the like. What are some of those external constraints that a lot of manufacturers have in common that they need to deal with?
Yeah, there's a number of them. So there's in the food space, there's the FDA has certain requirements. There's also a food certification called SQF that certifies at a higher level kind of quality standards, quality processes when it comes to producing food. Other industries have things like CFR 21, which is more for FDA regulated industries. Every industry has got different regulatory bodies, inspections, typically audits that can happen. All of these things require adherence to compliance. Compliance can be a very tricky, time consuming area of manufacturing any product. So anything that saves people time, keeps them on track with their compliance is generally a well received area to use something like AI, especially.
Well, Matt, I know a lot of individuals that are listening in will have questions, and I appreciate that you're joining us on the next Q&A panel that's coming up in just a few minutes.
Sure.
So for everybody that's listening in live, type your questions into the Q&A box that you see in front of you, and we'll get to as many of those as we can during this next Q&A panel in just a few minutes.